LA, you thought it couldn't get any worse? Check this out.
The ICE raids are still occurring across the country, and the focus of the federal government has been in certain spots: New York City, Chicago, and Los Angeles. But there's a problem. Many of these cities are considered sanctuary cities, and these particular jurisdictions limits cooperations with federal immigration enforcement efforts. Now, it doesn't mean that these cities won't work with the federal government because they have to. It can limit their cooperation with the federal government. And so what can happen is that these cities try to operate as independently as possible against the federal government. And we see that with Brandon Johnson in Chicago, and now we're seeing that with Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Now, Karen Bass is the current mayor of Los Angeles. She's African American, and you would expect an African American mayor to have a heart for the black community, right? Karen Bass is just like Brandon Johnson. She's all about protecting immigrants, and this is a strategy that the Democratic Party wants. It is important and imperative to keep as many migrants in these sanctuary cities and eventually turn these migrants into citizens, which would then bolster the Democratic vote, keeping Democrats in power. This tends to be a strategy that in some cases actually works until now. And so Karen Bass is going viral for doing this.
LA, you thought it couldn't get any worse? Check this out. Los Angeles mayor under fire for cash card program, and it's tied to who? Undocumented migrants. Give me a freaking break, man. God, this broad is out of her gore. That is Mayor Karen Bass. She is drawing backlash for backing a program that distributes prepaid cash cards to undocumented migrants in Los Angeles. While city officials insist the funding comes from a private donor and not taxpayer dollars, if you believe that, you're crazy.
When I first heard this story, I didn't think it was true. I mean, there could be no way that another mayor would make the same mistake that Eric Adams did, which was give illegal immigrants money and shelter. I mean, I've heard it from Brandon Johnson, I've heard it from Eric Adams, but I never heard it from Los Angeles because I thought, well, Los Angeles is like $1 billion in debt. So there's no way that Los Angeles could be this stupid. And boy, was I wrong.
We also are going to have reinstitution of the Angelino card, something that Mayor Garcetti started during COVID that will actually provide cash assistance to people. Because, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash.
Not only did the mayor sign an executive directive to support the immigrant communities, she's also promised cash. Now let's go back to what this directive entails. Number one, they're gonna basically bolster protocols and trainings to defend against ICE raids. That's the first thing they're gonna do. Number two, help LAPD basically protect migrants, right? In a nutshell. Number three, they're gonna ask the federal government for records about people who have been detained from these arrests.
Huh?
That's right. If ICE picks up illegal immigrants, the city of Los Angeles is going to basically subpoena the federal government and ask about these people's whereabouts, even though they're illegal. Number four, expand access to resources from cities' departments to immigrant families. That was number four, which you saw her talking about giving cash to immigrants who are out of work or one of their families have been detained. Now, of course, this was met with a lot of vitriol, especially from LA residents.
LA County Mayor Karen Bass woke up yesterday to decide she had a bright idea, and this is what they're going to do for illegal immigrants. LA will provide cash assistance to migrants affected by the raids. Now, if we didn't vote for this, I wouldn't be so pissed off, but I think we, 77 plus million Americans, voted for President Trump to handle his business, and this was one of them. Now, Mayor Karen Bass is so bright that she forgot she has 3,000 homeless veterans in LA. But sure, let's give our tax-paying money to random foreign nationals who are in our country illegally.
There was a time that Karen Bass found ICE deporting people, and she showed up. I believe this may have been the MacArthur Park incident, and she was there with ICE, and boy, was she set tripping.
Any comment, Mayor Bass?
Thank you.
Mayor Bass, any comment?
Yes, my comment is they need to leave, and they need to leave right now. They need to leave because this is unacceptable.
As you can see, she's saying how unlawful it is. It's not right. It doesn't make any sense. But let's focus on some of the blacks in Los Angeles who have a big problem with this. And a young brother who heard about this brought up a very interesting point.
So Karen Bass is about to provide cash payments towards immigrants affected by these ICE raids in Los Angeles. My thing is, Karen Bass, you did not fight this hard for Black Americans to receive reparations in the California Reparations Task Force. Like, this is wild to me. The Democrats, they fight and advocate so hard for immigrants, criminals, more than their own citizens, more than Black Americans, bro. Like, this is crazy.
There was a California Reparations Committee that was working on getting reparations in the state for Black Americans. Now, this is interesting because, you know, Democrats have largely not been interested in doing this in my home state of California. But as the young brother said, Karen Bass and other people are so quick to protect immigrants. Now, we want to be honest here. Some of these immigrants, a lot of them are working. You know, they do pay taxes. You know, they do have jobs because they can pay their rents. But some of them are illegal. And that's the thing there, okay? You're illegal. So what's happening is that Karen Bass wants you to believe that the money that she will give these people who basically their father or mother has been detained, she's going to give this immigrant who is not a U.S. citizen money, cash benefits to help pay for their rent. Well, while meanwhile, you have people who suffered from that horrendous fire that happened last year in Los Angeles. Literally their homes burnt to the ground and they couldn't get any help for that. Or you have homeless veterans out there in Los Angeles on Skid Row and they can't get any help. But the brother brings up the case. What about the reparations for the Black community? And then I remember this video.
There's a lot of stuff happening right here in this historic building behind me, also known as the California State Capitol. Right now, Democrats in this building are trying to ram through a bill that would establish a fund in the state treasury for reparations. The Reparations Task Force's recommendation is that African Americans in the state of California receive $800 billion in taxpayer-funded reparations. That'll be $1.2 million each. Senate Bill 1331, which would be the first step to getting this to happen, just passed out of the Assembly Appropriations Committee. That means once they can get it through the Assembly floor and to the governor for a signature, it becomes law. That's what State Senator Stephen Bradford wants to do. He wants California to take responsibility for discriminatory policies against African Americans, for slavery, for all these different things and all these different injustices that happened in our past. But let me remind everybody once again that California was a free state, and with the big budget deficit that we have, how would it make any sense to allow our government to basically multiply its budget by 2.5 times? First of all, they'd have to collect a lot of taxes to do this, and then how do we know it's going to get sent to the right place? Because with everything else, they're always messing up.
Now see, this is a Hispanic young man that's talking about the reparations and why he was against it. And it went viral everywhere. Tariq Nasheed reposted it. A lot of people reposted it. And we have a Latino person that's speaking on the Black community and reparations and how much it will cost the state of California. But he's not talking about these issues with the Latino community and immigrant communities getting a handout from the city of Los Angeles. You will never see this guy make a video about that. And this is exactly what happens. You see, when these immigrant communities start getting supported over Americans, then what happens once they become citizens, they talk just like that Hispanic young man I just posted, and they start having vitriol towards the black community. And that is what I'm afraid of. And that's what I've seen. When I lived in California, whether it be Northern California or Southern California, I used to see Hispanics, selling fruit, in the 80s and the 90s off the 405 or the 105. You would see it, right? But then their kids became citizens, and eventually they caught up, and they are catching up. And you want to know what? They don't have any remorse, or they don't have any empathy towards the black community. And again, when it comes to the rights of Hispanics in America, they think for themselves. And Karen Bass, who's a black person, you're helping them. And again, when you want to vote and run for Los Angeles City Mayor, you want to tie into the black community. It's the same thing that Kamala Harris did. When it comes to helping immigrants, Kamala Harris was all about helping immigrants. When it was about reparations, Kamala Harris was against reparations. But it's like, oh, Kamala is black. She's a black woman. She cooks soul food. So you want to lean into black culture and black tradition to align with black voters, but you don't want to give them anything. It's the same trick that we saw Brandon Johnson use. He's going to pull on the fact that he has a black wife. He has black children. He's associated with the West End of Chicago. But once it comes to policy, it all goes to immigrant voters, and then he neglects black voters. And this was the same thing that we saw with Eric Adams for a time, until he got pissed off and started changing his tune. He was all about the immigrants, all about supporting them, until he got under fire, and then all of a sudden he changed and got his Negro wake-up call. And the reality is, all of these mayors will be discarded. Once the Democratic Party has had enough of them, they'll throw them to the side. Karen Bass will never be reelected again, neither will Brandon Johnson or Eric Adams, and they will go ahead and live a life. They will be ostracized in a pit of political doom and never be able to be useful again once the Democratic Party gets rid of them too. And then they'll just put another black face up there to do the dirty work, and then the same will happen to them, and then another face. That's exactly what they do. Once they get your use for you, you're done, all right? So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.